Here with Angela Spoja, the head volleyball coach at Cal Poly Humboldt. How are you doing today, coach?
I am doing great. It's our media day, so you might hear some music and noise behind me in the arena there.
Oh, okay, that's great. Well, just tell me, how's your summer been so far, and what are you looking forward to with your upcoming season beginning in a few weeks?
Sure. Yeah. Our summer has been busy. I hired a new assistant coach in March, and so we've just been getting her up to speed and training and getting all of our travel ready. I think we are we're done doing like the office chores. We're ready to get back in the gym. So we've done a lot to prepare, but we're ready to start practices.
Yeah, that's great. And how has it been for you hiring a new assistant coach and just that whole process? How's that been?
It's been great. So I had an assistant, Macy Hayden, who is still here. She's our second assistant, and then we hired a first assistant, Tusalava Kwai. I've known her since she was 13 years old. So she played for me in Washington. She played club for me, and she played college for me, and then started coaching um, probably 8 or 9 years ago, and then was coaching community college. And then I asked her to apply for this job because I thought she would be a really good fit, and it's been pretty amazing. She is a great fit for us.
That's great. Yeah, I see. Let's talk about the upcoming season. Your season will begin. Well, let's talk about it this first. Your season will
Sure.
begin in a few weeks in Hawaii. So just talk about starting your season, especially in Hawaii, how that will be.
Well, I mean, everyone's always excited to go to Hawaii, but I think for us, it's going to be, it's going to be kind of all business. We've got 11 new freshmen and one new transfer. And so we have a lot of new people to the team. And I think Hawaii is going to be a great time for us to figure out how we're going to gel on and off the court. Um, Kind of see, what are our weaknesses? What do we need to focus on when we come back? Um, to get us ready for the CCAA conference, which is a very tough conference.
Yeah. Then after that, after going to Hawaii, your season, your home opener, September 11th, you're going to be hosting the Redwood Coast Volleyball Classic. So can you tell me a little bit about just
This
your home
is
opener and
Yeah,
hosting that?
absolutely. This is the first time we have hosted a tournament. We are really excited to have everybody here. It makes it, where we're at in Northern California, we have to travel pretty far to, play anybody. And so it's nice that people are coming to us. So we'll get to sleep in our own beds and, eat our own food, not have to eat out, which will be great. But again, we're coming off of Hawaii, so hopefully, we'll be able to gel in Hawaii and then come into this tournament pretty strong, and feeling confident.
Yeah. And about your home tournament that you're going to be hosting, just tell me about, what led you to this year host a home tournament and, what do you think it'll be like, because as you mentioned, you get to, stay home, sleep in your own bed, then there's additional responsibilities, you have your coaching duties, and then you're also going to be like tournament host and sure a lot of different things that go on with hosting a tournament. I've talked with a lot of coaches who, this upcoming season they're going to be hosting tournaments and, they've hosted it in the past and, there's a lot of different responsibilities that go with it, just other than just getting to be at home and be on your home court.
Yeah, and I'm okay with us coaches having more responsibilities, right? But
Yeah,
it's better for our student athletes because normally, like I said, we're so far north that we're flying pretty much everywhere to play people. And I think generally in the past we have gone to, maybe Hawaii and then to Denver, or I think we did New Mexico and then we did something else. And we come home from one trip, we have 2 days here, and then we leave again. And I just didn't feel like that second tournament that we were getting, we felt tired and it felt too rushed. So I thought, well, what if we host? So we come home from Hawaii. It's still going to be only a few days, but we are in our home, in our home arena. I also like the idea of playing in our home arena before we have a CCAA team here. So I think that that will also help us kind of like calm the jitters with it. With a fairly new team. So we only have one senior this year, so we're going to be very young.
yeah. Let's talk about your team. You're going to be very young. You have several freshmen coming in, some players coming in from community college. So what do you think it'll be like to have, lots of new players and freshmen, just having a young team? How do you think that'll be for your team this upcoming season?
Well, I will tell you, we had a retreat this past week, which
Okay.
was great, and I think the vibe is really good. I
Mhm.
think people are very open with each other, and this group is pretty special. And I think that even though we have, newer players, I have been recruiting these freshmen for the last couple of years. So I feel that I know them and the coaching staff knows them and their parents really well. And so I knew that they would fit in with our group. The transfer, Caitlin Wakefield, she came from SPSCC, which is where Coach Kwai was coaching. But Caitlin's mom and I played in college together for a year. So I feel like this is just, it's a good full circle moment. And not only that, but we have a lot of kids from, from my area, my home, so in Washington. So they're gelling right now. I think being on the road in Hawaii is going to get us even closer and help us kind of work out some of the kinks on the court because we haven't been on the court yet, and we don't start that till Monday. And then hopefully our home tournament will be, we'll
Yeah.
do really well there.
Yeah, that's great. You have a lot of new players and freshmen, but they might be new to your team, but necessarily not new to you. So that's great that
Right.
some players you already have a connection with. You
Yep.
mentioned the CCAA. Your conference opener will be in September 18th against Cal State Los Angeles. Can you just tell me a little bit about, your conference and, some of the teams you play? And you mentioned it's, very good competitive conference. So just talk about your conference play and the teams you play in.
We do have one of the top conferences in the nation, and so we have several teams every year that are ranked, in the top 20. Cal State Elite is always good. They are well coached. Juan is a great coach. He's won a, Division two championship. Um, we came out pretty tough against them last year at home, and we beat them, and that was the first time in a really long time. I think the school has, um, has beat them if ever. Um, so, I look forward to the competition. I think it's going to be a tough match. I know he has a lot of new players. He had graduated one of his biggest players, Emily Elliott. So, she was always a killer. I mean, she, would get 20 to 30 kills a match. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see what he has. But like I said, they're going to be well coached,
Mhm.
and so we look forward to it.
Yeah, so I see you play Cal Poly Pomona, so it's called the Cal Poly Class. Can you just tell me about playing the other Cal Poly team Pomona and just what's it like playing them?
Again, great competition, right? Again and
Yeah,
again, well coached. We've just got some amazing coaches in this conference, and Tracy does a great job. And her team, obviously, last year they were rolling, but they were also senior heavy, and so I think it'll be almost a whole new team for her as well. So I think all of us are just going to be duking it out on the court. I think it's going to be pretty, we might have some barn burners up here.
yeah, that's great. So you mentioned you only have one senior. We have to talk about your senior, Sophia Spoja. So obviously, she's your daughter, and she's the lone senior on your team. So just what's it like, getting to coach Sophia and have her on your team, especially as the lone senior, because she played at Eastern Washington when you were coaching there, and now she's
Mhm.
at Humboldt. So just talk about getting to have Sophia on your team and her being the lone
Well,
senior on your team.
yeah, I mean, I love sharing this joy of the sport and the love of the sport with my daughter. I love it,
Yeah,
and it's great that I get to be here for this and I get to coach her. I'm just very grateful for this
yeah,
opportunity. I'm grateful for her too to just be here and to be, one of the leaders on our team. It's probably not always the easiest thing. I know a lot of people that coach their own children in college, and I think there's you have to be very careful with boundaries, and you have to make sure that those aren't crossed. But I think that we have done a pretty good job, and she has grown as a player. I'm really just fascinated with her spirit right now going into this season, and um, yeah, I can't wait to watch what she does.
yeah. And last thing about Sophia. So you mentioned, a lot of, some other coaches who, coach their kids. So just, talk about what advice would you give, to to like a parent who coaches their kid, or what advice would you give to a parent, raising a kid who wants to play, college athletics? And second part of the question, just how do you go between, being coach when Sophia's on the court and then being mom when she's not on the court? How do you, balance going in between those two things?
Sure, I can answer all of those. Like I said, boundaries are really important if you're going to coach your own child because really you're not just coaching your own child, they're all your children.
Yeah.
And you have to think of it like that. And so here, when the parents are dropping these young women off to me at college, they're entrusting that I take care of them. They're entrusting that I'm giving them the knowledge, that I'm helping them grow. And so I think by thinking about them all as your children and not just having, your own daughter on the
Mhm.
court, I think that's an important mindset for a coach to have. And I
Yeah.
know that there's plenty of women coaches that I've looked up to that have coached their daughters that, have done the same thing. Just taking care of all of our players the same and making sure that everybody has what they need and the support they need from the coaching staff and the administration. Um, what was the second part of the question?
Just how do you balance, being, coach when Sophia's on the court and then being mom, when she's not on the court? Just how do you balance, going in between those two?
Right. So we do have we do have a little kind of a code. I of course treat her just like everybody else in practice and in games. But when sometimes after games or when we get home or maybe we have a day off, I don't ask her anything about I talk about volleyball. I don't ask her anything about volleyball. I let her bring it up. If she brings it up, I say, do you want mom right now or do you want coach right now?
Yeah.
Because there's just two different personalities. If it's mom, I'm going to listen, I'm going to be empathetic, probably give hugs, probably just really kind of take in what she's saying. If she wants coach, then it's like, okay, what do you need to get better at? What do how do you want to do this or whatever it is. So there is like a different, I guess, personality that I have to take on when it's just the two of us. But I think she's older and she's, like I said, she's our only senior, and she knows when to ask for mom or when to ask for coach.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely very great that you get to coach her and have her as your lone senior on your team. So, Coach, let's talk about your school. Just can you tell me about Cal Poly Humboldt and just what attracted you to Humboldt after your time coaching at Eastern Washington?
Sure, I can. I wasn't actually that sure about Humboldt when the job came open. I had a couple people call me and ask me
Okay.
if I'd like to apply for the job, and I didn't really know where it was at. So I got on a map and I looked and I kind of looked up what they had done in the past. And the volleyball team was pretty up and down. It wasn't ever like in the last like 10 years very, very strong. And so I looked at the conference and I knew that the conference, I was really familiar with the GNAC, but I looked at the CCA and I thought, oh, there's some really good teams here and I need to kind of see what this is going to be about. So when they asked me on an interview,
Mhm.
I took the first whole night and just went around the town. I walked around the town. I wanted to see what it felt like. I wanted to see if I could see myself here. Um, and I've just fallen in love with it. It's a small town feel, but it's right off the 101. It's beautiful. Um, I've got the redwoods in my backyard and the ocean is my front yard. And if you're an outdoorsy person, this is the place for you. It is a beautiful place. I really enjoy all of my coworkers here. The other coaches, we've just created a family environment. There's a lot of trust, and these people are really good coaches and good people. So that's been a really really nice part of my career is
Yeah.
having these people surround me. And I just think I've been very lucky to have been offered this job and to just adjust so easily here to Humboldt.
Yeah. So for my next question, I mean, I'm sure you're very grateful and glad to be the Humboldt head coach, but you coached at Eastern Washington, and we'll talk about it. You played at Eastern Washington. You're from Washington, so just how just talk about the decision, just how difficult that was, to leave Eastern Washington to take the position at Humboldt, because I'm sure Eastern Washington was very, special for you. You attended there. You're from
Mhm.
Washington, and you got to coach there for a little bit. So just talk about the decision to leave there and just how difficult that was for you, because you mentioned being unsure at
Yeah.
first.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I was heartbroken. I really loved Eastern. I loved going to school there. I had a great coach and an assistant coach there that are still my friends to this day, and really looked up to them, and they helped, mentor who I am as a coach. But I think, in the long run, I'm not sure that Spokane was the right fit for me. This is more of the feel. I also think there's a really good work-life balance in the Division Two.
Okay.
Yeah, in the Division 2 realm, Division 1 is a different beast, right? There's a lot more travel, there's a lot more pressure. There's a lot of things that I think people don't realize about coaching at that level. That at Division 2 is just a little bit better for my personality,
Mhm.
and having more of a work-life balance and being able to be out in the community, and not feeling like I'm giving up something at work.
Yeah. So I've talked to coaches about this, coaches who are at different divisions. So for you, given you've coached at Division 1 at Eastern Washington, now you're at Division 2 at Humboldt. Just if you were like talking to, a young lady looking to play college volleyball or a recruit, just how would you pitch, Division 2 to like a young lady or a recruit?
Well, I think it's the same thing. We talk about work-life balance, right? We don't have the same structure as Division 1. I mean, when I played Division 1, basically they told you everything, when to sleep, when to eat, the amount of time we spent in the gym, the amount of time we spent working out. Division 2 has rules all around, those things, and even our start date is later. I mean, the Division 1 schools have already started. So, if you want to have the full feel of a college, being a college athlete and being a college student athlete, then
Yeah,
Division 2 is probably the best place for you because you're going to be able to do both. Division 1 takes, I would say a lot more time.
yeah, definitely. So coach, you played, at Eastern Washington. Just talk about your time playing college volleyball and just how that's helped you, get perspective given you played college volleyball, just how that, helps you coach now your players.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was so long ago. It's hard to remember.
Yeah,
But I loved playing college volleyball. I would have never left if I didn't have to. And maybe that's why, I'm coaching. I just love volleyball and I love teaching volleyball. And so my time at Eastern was awesome. I formed great friends. I told you my coaches are still, my mentors today. I just signed or committed a kid for 2026 who my assistant coach, Wade Benson, is coaching in Spokane. So it just really is full circle. But my time there was great. I don't regret anything. I started my first Pam Parks gave me my first coaching job at Eastern Washington. I think I was a junior. She asked me if I wanted to coach club. She said I'd be good at it, and I thought, really? Do you think I'd be good at it? And come to find out, I'm still doing it 30 years later. Um, so yeah, I mean, just the relationships. I have friends that I met at Eastern that we still talk every single day. I mean, we, yeah, and I tell
yeah,
our ladies that all the time. I say these relationships that you're making right now at Humboldt are going to be with you for your
yeah.
life.
Yeah. So to talk on what you just said, did you think you wanted to get into coaching initially, or was it the fact that Pam Parks gave you the opportunity to coach in club? Is that really what sparked your interest in, getting into coaching after playing in college?
I never ever said I wanted to be a coach. Like
Okay.
that wasn't like at the forefront when I was in college. I changed my major so many times I couldn't figure out what fit me. And I ended up getting my degree in criminal justice. And so I thought, well, I could probably be a police officer or firefighter. I'm physical. I like to be outside.
Okay.
And after she gave me the coaching job, I think I was maybe 20, 19 or 20. Um, and I was coaching club, I thought, well, this is fun. Maybe I can keep coaching club. Well, then when I graduated, Pam kept me around for a little bit and let me do some of the admin work and some of the recruiting work at Eastern. And so I jumped into that and I thought, okay, I really like this. So I moved back home to Tacoma, and one of my friends that also played with me who graduated got the coaching job at Peninsula High School, and she asked me to be her assistant coach. And then that was it. It
Yeah.
was done. I was coaching from that day on.
Yeah. You mentioned you coached, in high school. You've coached club volleyball. So let's talk about that. Just tell me how you got into coaching club volleyball and just what you've learned from coaching in club volleyball and like how that's different from, coaching now in college.
Yeah, I mean, club is a different beast.
Mhm.
It's not the same level of athletics that you're seeing in college, but it's where it starts. I also love coaching club. I started coaching club. I started at Eastern, and then when I moved back home and took the coaching job at Peninsula High School, I started coaching club again there as well. I jumped around and coached for different clubs, and then when I got the job at Tacoma Community College, I thought we need to start a club because we need to have we need to have kids coming through the club and then playing at the college. And so we started our own club, and that just morphed into something huge. We ended up merging with another club in the area, and we ended up having 20 teams, and it was a very, very big club. Each year was like 16 to 20 teams. When I took the job at Eastern, I walked away from coaching club, and thought I was done with it. However, we have started a club now here in Humboldt.
Yeah.
So Humboldt really needed volleyball. The development of these players, there's a lot of good athletes, and they just aren't getting the year-round volleyball that other places are getting. So there's athletes here that want to play in college and they don't have the opportunity.
Okay.
So we have started a True North Volleyball Club, and so far right now, this season, I think we're going to have about 5 or 6 teams. And yeah, they'll be traveling around and playing just USA volleyball, just like, if you were in Washington or Oregon or anywhere else.
Yeah. So I've talked to coaches who, give other opportunities. So for you, what's it like? You mentioned starting club, giving, opportunities for those who can't play collegiately. Just what's it like? Just
I,
starting club and giving
I
other
think that,
opportunities.
yeah, I think that the true, one of the true, I guess, virtues of leadership is creating opportunity for people. And if when I was, I was thinking about this in our area, and when I'm watching the level of volleyball in our area and thinking, these kids need an opportunity. They need an opportunity. We have to create an opportunity for them to be able to play. And not like, let's say they don't want to play in college, that's fine. But they could play all the way through high school, and it develops. We all know that sports develop so many other things other than just being on the court, right? You develop relationships, you learn how to deal with conflict and adversity. I mean, there's so many things that you learn from athletics. So I think even just creating the opportunity for the athletes in this area to be able to play a sport year round is going to be something that this area has really needed, and I think it's going to grow pretty fast.
Yeah, that's great. So I want to ask two questions. You've coached at several schools: Tacoma Community College, Evergreen State College. Then you're at Eastern Washington, your alma mater, and then now you're at Humboldt coaching. So at Tacoma Community College, your team won five West Region championships: '06, '07, '08, '09, and 2010. And you were Coach of the Year in '06, '07, and 2010. So just what was it like? The success you and your team had at Tacoma.
Well, winning's always fun. I mean, when you're winning and you're on top, and people are chasing you, it's always fun. And then athletes want to come to your program because you're winning a lot. So that's always fun. And actually, it's it's easier. Winning's
Yeah,
easier. Losing is hard. And building a team culture and building a team um, is very hard. And I've been doing that a lot in my career. I started at Tacoma Community College, and it was not a good program, and we turned that around pretty quick. But at the JC level, people are in and out in 2 years. It's easier to turn it around quickly. Went to Evergreen, helped turn that program around. That took some blood, sweat, and tears, because that was also not easy. And that program, hadn't ever been good. And I'm proud of where I left it. I felt like it was time for me to move on. I did what I could do there. Um, Same with Eastern. We got there, and it was at the starting point of the head coach's tenure there, and they hadn't been to the Big Sky championship in years, and we got them there in the few years that I was there. So now that I'm at Humboldt, and the same thing, they haven't been to the CCAA championships in quite some time, and it wasn't the CCAA championships when
okay.
they actually went. Um, that is our next big goal. Um, you know, if we can stay true to ourselves and our team theme of family, and if we can all keep working toward the same goal, I don't see why that shouldn't be possible. And if
Yeah,
not this year, at least by next year.
yeah. And you coached at several schools that I mentioned prior. Just what have you learned, or what advice have you gained throughout your coaching career at, several schools?
Well, I've learned t too much to probably put into a sentence or two. Um, but I think one of the biggest things is to just keep fighting keep fighting for what you believe in, keep fighting for your athletes. I think it's important to be a strong leader for women. I
Yeah.
think it's important to have integrity, and I think it's important to have empathy. And you have to have open arms for your players because they need things from you. And you have to be a people person.
Yeah.
Um, taking care of 20 athletes a season is not easy. And it's not easy to make sure everybody's fed and everybody's sleeping and everybody's mental health is good and our our we're all doing our workouts and we're staying on the course. It's managing a lot of pieces. So I'd say to anyone that wants to get into coaching, if you love volleyball and you are good at managing people and you are um, strong and empathetic, it's probably a good career choice for you.
Yeah. You just talked about kind of this, but managing your team at Humboldt is just difficult in of itself. And I've talked with other coaches who are parents, and we mentioned Sophia, but you're a mom of three. So how do you manage, being the coach at Humboldt and being a mom of three? How do you balance and manage both of those?
Well, my kids are grown now, so
Okay.
it's not as hard as it was. But there's times when I was at, Tacoma Community College and I had a baby here and a toddler here and I'm
Yeah.
coaching, or I have kids in the gym all the time, or I'm lugging my kids back and forth to practices and things like that. And I am an advocate. If any of my coaches want to have children or need to bring children into the gym or into the office or whatever they need to do to make it work, I would let them do that. I think it was a little harder when, 20 or 30 years ago, it was frowned upon, I'd say. But now, I mean, I think that I'm willing to do whatever it takes to help my coaches or anybody that I'm mentoring have a family,
Yeah.
and bring them in. For our club this year, we have two women that are expecting and coaching, and we're just like over the moon for them, and they still want to be involved. I'm like, we'll make it work. We'll do whatever you need.
Mhm.
So women are powerful.
Yeah. And finally, Coach, I'll end on this question as I usually do with coaches. Just for you, what do you enjoy most about being a college volleyball coach? And what do you enjoy most about just getting to work with the student athletes on your team each year?
What I enjoy most about college volleyball
Mhm.
is the different athletes, the diversity we have, getting to know the athletes, backgrounds, where they grew up, what makes them who they are. And again, like I've talked about, relationships are everything. And so these relationships that these athletes have with me, this will carry on. I still talk to 100 athletes that I've coached in the past. Um, and whether I'm mentoring them for coaching or they just need someone to talk to or they're just stopping by to say hi, I mean, that's kind of what life is made of, right? So that is the most rewarding part of this job. The second would be competition. I mean, if you're a competitor, if you can compete every single day and you can be in the gym every single day, it feeds who you are.
Yeah.
And so competition has always, driven me. I love to compete.
Yeah.
So those two things, will keep me doing this until I'm ready to retire.